outside of that first game in day one, they have just been on an absolute tear here. It's not been much of a problem whatsoever.
I think that absolute might be a word too big for this type of tear because it takes a lot of time for them to actually get rid of this fight sometimes. It's not going to be completely free every single time. Timing is a big thing for Ziandi. Timing and landing is a big thing for Mustache and Malabuka. I'm getting anxiety seeing exactly who's going to win off of spawn right here. Pink down, Anas next. Malabuka time, it's going to be free for them off spawn.
Malabuka time, I like that. I'm down for all the Malabuka time. He can have all my time if he'd like. 2 huge eliminations off spawn. Pink and Anas were the ones to take down Vino and Aqua. And so those two will be happy to see them go down. But for Malabuka and Mustache, 2 eliminations off spawn, that will be the catalyst to seeing them potentially go all the way through deep into this game. And hopefully a pop-off for them, not too far away. Falling out of that race, but still never too far, especially with a format that points towards elimination. Speaking of eliminations, Cammy and Setu on our screen, not usually associated with getting many eliminations. They're not falling too far behind the top 2 teams.
Seti and Cammy.
Hey.
Seti and Cammy. I'm excited. Yeah, you mentioned that. You bring it up. We'll get back to it in just a second. I want to mention Asvi and Refsguard. What's happening on screen here. It's getting actually close and personal. This is the change overall when it comes to just, you know, impatience, stakes just rising all the way towards the end of the day. 3 more games kind of left to play. 10, 11, and 12. Connor Refsguard like to keep it very distant. This time, it'll be close and personal for Orcadia versus the Falcon Bifrost duo. They'll be pushing in a 1v1 on both sides. Should end very, very soon. Clown knows it's a 1v1. He should know the damage he's put down as well. Nothing really rocking, so they'll disengage for now. You mentioned Seti and Kemi specifically, Levin. I don't know where they've come from. It's just the consistency. I knew in the past when we were doing predictions, I knew in the past when we were, you know, talking shop with each other, I expected this to happen, yet I'm still surprised that they're just 16 points away from first.
I've never seen this guy so excited, by the way. This guy is so excited to see his team doing well, and I feel for you. I'm backing you here. If Malabuka and Mustache can't be the ones to win, I'm backing you.
This is why, though, right? Because you and Reese got to go to media day. You and Reese go to lunch together every day. You and Reese sleep in the same bed, right?
Sometimes.
I can be with you and Reese now, and Minnie as well. He's there on the Tayson train.
Of course, understandable.
I just want to be.
You just want to be a part of the crew.
Yeah.
I don't blame you, buddy. I don't blame you. Look, it's a fun crew to be a part of.
Zeke's almost there too. Hen and Queasy, they're somewhere. They're catching up. Mappy Flois, Coney Crossroads, talking about timing and stakes kind of clashing. Just saw it with the Arcadia duo versus Refsguard and Clown. Things tend to snap fast. This entire process, the 12 games, like a rubber band, they stretch real far. Stretch too far though, get too tense, and things just break. Snap back on both sides. There's casualties all around. It stings. It hurts. And that snapback hasn't happened at Coney Crossroads. It hasn't really just broken. Over here at the Joneses, same kind of situation. It's patience. I don't think, Levin, this lasts for the next 2 games.
Yeah, if you allow things to stretch too far, it stops you from really being able to command the area, and that's where things always get edgy for these teams. Bubak, we've seen him in this fight so many times, and I've seen him on the winning side a lot of the time, but like we said in previous games, nothing is a guarantee. They almost taken out the NPC there, I think. For a moment, they got panicked.
Dialed in.
Yeah, they are way too dialed in there.
You ever calm damage on the NPC? It's I hit him for 100, 200, 300. How am I hitting for 300?
I'm sure they calmed it. I am sure they calmed it. 100, 200.
Oh man, Bubak also stole damage from a third party. This is where things might start to change as well. We saw after like the 3rd game of the day, people starting to do different things. The Jones is getting invaded from one of the sides. Bubak and Fury now on a different timer, on a different type of pressure. They were the ones in a very good pinch. Now, due to Rabbit and Fenyayan, they're in the middle of a sandwich.
Save it. Yapko. Will this be the time for redemption?
I mean, it might be, but they're stuck. 89 points. They're kind of in a very similar position of Hen and Queasy in terms of where they are in the game right now. But nothing going on for them yet. They're not that close to getting all the way towards the top spot, and VR have to make it off the spawn. Fury finally going down, save it. It's gonna be
Max
just
3 trying to get in. Look at the boys, they're rolling through. We all know this feeling when a team just won't give you that space, that time. Favorite just running through all these old builds, trying to edit his way around, but when these two are on your wall, it's not easy.
It's not even done yet. This is a party at the Joneses. Every single Jonesy is here. Darkus and Zara in the business. They've left the islands. Vinayans still just, I think they're watching. They bought front row tickets. They're not participating. They're just cheering from the sidelines.
The big thing is though, right? A lot of these teams are teams who have been struggling. A lot of them have been struggling with Surge. If you see the names in the feed, if you know these teams are fighting, you see it from a distance, you realize, look, let's third party, let's get involved. That's why we're seeing it look like a creative map right now, creative PvP fight going on. You don't want to be taking out the AI, that's not your main opponent, but sometimes you do have to sort them out, sit them down. The NPCs can get a bit leery, a bit too big for their boots, but Zara and Darkus, like you said, very much a team that wanted to try to capitalize on the fight, realizing though that things have slowed down, and so they will retreat themselves. They don't want to mess themselves up.
Yeah, and over here is the Andy Joe. Talk about them trying to play patient. On the other side, the desperation from 40th place, from the bottom of the board. Kid1 and Flixie, they took them out. And now a different type of like medium pressure. Reason and the Siptos. Not completely out of the top 10. Nice trap laid down way above the attic. They're sitting in their own little tower. Gonna see if they can find the time to take this fight. Type of characteristic miss from Reason, but he controls all sides. 1v2ing basically. This man hasn't put down a single build. He's all brawn and he's going for it still. Just how much ammunition does he have in these mags? It's crazy. He hasn't stopped. Swapping possibly as well, and oh my goodness. At the very end, running out of steam, running out of gas, Flixie and Kidwo, they survived the onslaught of Reason and the
Hey,
Siptos.
look, Flixie and Kidwo ain't had much success against Joe and Ziandi. But when Reason and the Siptos came through, Flixie decided to put on a show.
That's 2 fights they've won so far now. That's huge. Going straight in with 4 eliminations before this mid-game even starts. This should be way more than good on Surge.
Yeah, 12-point game already. It's real nice.
Moving out of the desert now, we look at the zone, look at everything that's happened early game. Reese should have some recap for us to talk about.
Thank you very much, gents. I do indeed. Aqua and Vino got very lucky. They managed to get the gunner spawn, and so far have now got the 2 launch pads from the vault on top of that. So they are absolutely set up to win.
It's the Reese Hub recap. You love to see it. We talked so much about how much that spawn of the gunner NPC is pivotal to how or who holds the power, right? Whether that be Thomas and Trippin or Aqua and Vino. The gunner NPC spawn in terms of the side of Cavern, or yeah, in terms of the side of Command Cavern, I thought I said Covert Cavern, but in terms of the side it spawns on, it's 50-50, right? So this time going in the favor of Aqua Vino. Joe, with Ziandi down, up against Flixie and Kidwo, we saw they had 4 eliminations, and this was the other 2 that they were able to pick up. Joe did his best to put Flixie down, but Kidwo came through just in the nick of time. And so a team who, I think we actually just jinxed them, because we started this whole game talking about how they just don't lose. They've been dominant, it's been a constant, and then they go down. I'm sorry, Joe and Ziandi, I apologize.
Hey, and I'm sorry for this one in advance, okay? Look at me.
No, don't say it, don't say it.
I'm saying it. You know, Ziandi might have been joking around, but on the other side of things, Flixie wasn't kidwoing around. That's not a, there's no way it's a real laugh. There's just...
It was a fake laugh, that was awful.
That was good though.
Tayson, Uruguay, in the heat of battle right now, at the Collider.
I want a second opinion.
You're not getting this.
I'm looking around, there's no one on the stage.
You want to bring Reese back? I'm sure Reese loved your joke, don't worry, it's fine. Somebody out, if you liked Shire's joke, let him know in the Twitch chat.
I'm gonna be called a joke, man.
I hope they do.
Okay, Clown and Rascard are on our screens.
We're seeing the effects, right? Of course, the game started with them being splintered. Rascard was down. You got 2v1 by Asvi and Siren, but now Clown was able to pick him up. It's why they're so deep in Storm. They've not been able to play out this game normally like a regular duo would. Taking a bit of extra time there. Trippin, Thomas obviously did not have the vault this time, but how many times do we watch this team when they need to do damage for Surge and they just go and hit a couple headshots like it's nothing, all casual like?
It's the buff of the observer, you know?
It's the observer buff?
Observer buff, yeah. Watching them, they feel the spotlight, they feel the pressure, you know? Feel the damage, get it done, get it down. Right now, a lot of teams up in that same type of situation. Savage might be in a bad situation in terms of getting hit in this fight, but they definitely want to keep aggressing here, definitely want to stay box to box, going for these edits, the big shots. 174 below, 100 trade, and now 74 down.
I'm just trying to enjoy the FNCS right now, so that's why I'm not really talking. But welcome to the stream, everybody. Xbox player 2220, welcome to the stream. And welcome to the stream. Oh, you sound cool. Oh, well, thank you. That's the first time anyone has said that, but yeah, thank you very much.
They need to start doing some damage. To be fair, the teams that they are in and around.
Oh, I also love it. Yeah. So if you have 2FA enabled, you can watch the Fortnite FNCS in Legends Landing, and then you can get the rewards instead of doing the link with Twitch or the link with YouTube. I have nice. I received mine yesterday, so I might do a video telling persons how to do it, because they're gonna do another. I think they're gonna be playing all day today, but there's probably somebody that has already done that video, so I don't want to be the kind of person that's late to everything. And that's kind of why sometimes I just don't do videos. Like with the Fortnite leaks for Chapter 3. I'm gonna be way too late if I start doing leak videos, so I just don't do the Chapter 3 leaks, because everybody else has all like 16, 25 videos on it. So I might just do a summary video going into tomorrow about it.
The means of materials after spending so much on this fight. Hydro's actually gone down as well, but Lucy's struggling to stay alive. If that is still Malabuka Mustache, these guys are relentless.
Storm Surge. I want to do a customs like this though, and kind of like put some guys up on the line. Maybe do like what would I say? Probably do maybe for like 1,000 V-Bucks.
Any wall rebuilding, he's gonna be the one just completely ratted out. Thomas HD Tripper.
But like we got a lot of persons here.
Mustache type of influence of damage on the server. We've seen them land a few shots. Like essentially a side scroller right now. Not gonna find much. Tilted Towers endgame. DKS and Bat Sniper are in the business. Should have a very good zone to play in.
This will be fun. I wonder if we can go back and check in terms of Thomas and Trippin, the games that they've been, good in. Whether it's always been the games where they get the vault or not. I'm sure it's more likely that the vault games have been their best games.
Yeah.
Right.
Looks a lot better now, doesn't it?
Having pads, but
oh no way! I'm still to an angle.
That would be fun. Obviously, this is a game where they don't have the pads from the vault, so they'll have to get creative, look to recycle some pads as well if they can.
This is the effect of zone kind of closing in towards the center. Loss of pressure on all sides, room for people to move, but basically Sentry towers set up for everyone to be able to move fast and climb. You mess up builds for a second.
No.
It costs 2 HP. Flodax. Incorrect elevation on placing the wall.
Well, like, there's a lot of persons here though.
Smell it and they take strike.
Yeah, they're sitting in a really nice position up on this hill. We know they like to be in this general area anyway for Surge earlier in the game in first and second zone. They've probably not had to move much at all this game. Sitting comfy, perched up above. Highest team in the lobby, it seems, from an elevation standpoint.
I'm trying to find a spot that looks where my cursor isn't too much in the way. Alright, I'll probably just go back to where I was.
For even more damage, even more shots.
276 leading the lobby. Uguay and Tayson on screen right now. Once this zone locks in, we'll know their game plan and where they need to move. Meanwhile, looks like Noah Riley Vidil are in a very tough situation rotating in. Queasy picks up one of the eliminations. On the other side, Clinberry wraps up another. Shouldn't really be a box fight we're looking at There's one sole red arrow at the south side.
There's a lot of persons saying that they haven't received the PlayStation reward, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on there so I can update everyone on it.
Their move is to get even more of this entire building, deny access for many of the players down below.
And the big thing is about Tilted being on these buildings, so many opportunities for teams to refarm, right? They can now look to try get their brick up to cap. I don't think there's going to be much metal in that building.
I might join, I know.
Try their best on Hellfire.
This isn't my main, this is the one that was the
Gold Striker. That's what he was up against as well. It was lined up, and he won that fight.
Is he that guy? Is he the guy right now?
We've actually asked that, I think, about him before. And the answer was a definitive maybe. So I'm going to actually retaliate with a possibly at this moment. Top 9, right? This is the game where you can really make a difference. Game number 10, you set yourself up to just be on a trajectory of comeback or hold on. That's the question for them. That's the same question for Stompy and Ju as well. 7th place overall, right behind just, you know, the echelon of top 5.
I think if I got where I was.
And they've done so well. I feel like so many times in these games today, we've seen them playing the dead side of the zone, nobody really around them, being in awkward positions to get surge, but coming through nevertheless, hitting the shots when they need to be hit. And it's all about now converting that into good end games where you're accumulating plenty of points. Same to be said for Kami and Seti, but Seti, you got to actually make it to end game, son. You got to be careful. Can't afford to take too much damage there. Obviously moving down that hill that they were positioned so well on.
Triple Thomas hitting each other instead of the players.
I mean, that's the best spot, but like
they're gonna need damage. I think that was very crucial for them to hit at least
it's
one
equivalent to watching bootleg.
Thomas is getting a few blows as they go, but yeah, they have to move right now, Levin, and then try to get above this threshold. Thomas is really working it. Up to 113 now. I can hear the tax on it going across, going off, but as we get so small in the zone,
can I friend you? You would have to get 10 points
you have to go for those box fights.
or more to get friended.
Lines of sight, there's just not much you can see around.
It's just the rules. I don't want to start breaking them because if I do, then I'm gonna have to start breaking them for everyone, and I don't want to do that.
Snails on the other hand. We'll see where it pulls, yeah? We'll see where it pulls. Got a couple seconds. Situation from it, so we can't see where the zone pulled. Hopefully we'll be able to see in a second, but...
Okay, hold up. Scram Hellfire. Lobby focus.
It pulled on them, so Tyson and Thomas are sitting in a really nice position. They'll have to do damage to stay in the game.
Yo, they're getting beamed.
This is just too much. Overwhelming for Hellfire and Scram. The entire lobby understand they're way at max moving in terms of space. Just caught off on the top left side of the zone. Have 1 or 2 teams focused on their position right now, and they've heard 2 shield cracks. This launch pad, they're gonna have to wiggle in this in the air like they haven't before.
Yeah, I think Hellfire is still scouting around to see if maybe they can recycle, right? They want to save this pad, clearly, but it might just be the better safe.
You could have exclamation mark add or exclamation mark points. It'll tell you how to get points.
Short pad wrapped around the right side. I think they will look to go high on it. But they need to make sure they don't get sprayed as they make their way in. They've now made that rotation. The pad comes through. They wrap their way around.
But yeah, if anyone wants like do a tournament similar to this and they need like someone for graphics and stuff, like if you got the right amount of money, I could.
But certainly you're not halfway to doing so.
And all they wanted to do is just skip any portions of the game that are very troublesome for them. So off spawn, things look very good. Everything's fine, and they got the vault. And then just moving from the 4th to 5th zone, getting to a half and half that's too far. Looks like they pulled it this time. They're gonna be fine with the refarm, fine inside this base. Up top, Hen and Queasy trying again, but this time the stakes very different. The top 3 teams, the top 4 teams, all still alive, all veining for heights.
We saw a back-to-back 4 dominant height team yesterday at Vino. They won 2 games back-to-back, playing up on height. Will Queasy and Hen look to steal their flow, word for word, bar for bar. But will they succumb to the pressure now that Tayson and Chapix and Vino and Aqua are in this lobby, are in this game?
I mean, it was their song before, right? No features. This time, the tune, the song, it's very different. Yeah, a lot more active, the BPM higher. We have Tayson and Uguay right across with them. Just saying, we're gonna hold on to this height. Look at this. This is the telegraphing of this height fight. Marco Clinberry, the same height as Tayson and Uguay as well. They might be able to stay up top here too. Might not be an impact on the leaderboards, but a chance here. What are Tayson and Uguay going to do? They're looking for a pad anywhere, somewhere, using...
Oh, they can't find one. They're searching. They know one's here, but they don't know where it is.
No way.
They're using so many chunk smashes.
No way.
They are looking. I've seen this happen to them early in the season where they really struggle to find one.
Zone's gone.
Yeah, they just need to. They need to pad. They need to find one. They finally do find one, but look
3,
at the HP.
2, 1.
It's done. Tayson down. Chapix, will he follow? No.
3,
he's able to
2,
in, maybe
1.
Down. They spent way too long searching for a recycled pad. It happened to them so many times earlier in the season. That was one of their biggest hiccups at this stage in the game. But that trip up will be everything Aqua and Vino were hoping for. They are in the zone, they're looking more comfy, and they're using a pad now, a pad that Tayson and Uguay so hoped they could have had. And this is what they wanted to do with it, take height. But Aqua and Vino are fighting for it now.
Aqua did this once before, took a head immediately. This time is his position that he gains. Afterwards, looking for Queasy's head first. He doesn't find it, sees the body event for a split second, and gets the big shot right on his back. And now they have the essence of control slightly, and a knock to Hen down. Can't hold on to the pressure that Aqua and Vino put down.
A repeat of what we saw yesterday. Queasy having to play as a solo. Nebs hitting big shots onto Ju. Stompy now will be a solo, but the battle for height is what everybody had their eyes on. Stompy now trying to get the revenge. He doesn't want to allow Ju to go down without a fight. But the chunk splashes are so much more valuable. They give him time. They give him hope in this game.
Midground not wanting to lose control either. Down below is a river. It's going to be tricky to cross that without the proper boots, without your feet ready to go. Meanwhile, Rabbit going down. Mustache still active in this game, looking for many shots. The third place team and the fourth place team in the similar position inside that midground. Mustache and Malabuka, they look so much better off.
Boots on the ground and the troops are there with him. Mustache looking in the backside of the zone. He knows where the opportunities for eliminations are. It's players like Stompy just up above their layer. He needs to protect himself, needs to make sure these are his builds, these are his edits, because he's struggling when it comes to HP, and he's going to continue to struggle with the likes of those guys still in this lobby. Aqua though, no materials. This is a desperate elimination, and Asby might have just gifted them what they needed to win this game. That elimination's huge. Still lackluster in that regard, but the zone pulling back will give them the extra time needed.
They catch a breath, and so does the entire lobby. A moment to think what to do next. It's going right past everyone's builds perfectly. Marco, the only casualty for this one. Only one shot in the air, one sound wave from Floki. Silence for the rest. Vico looking next. Can't find much for now, but a tree in the way to give him a bit more loot to work with in terms of Matt, Seti, and Kenny. Drop down, Floki and Clement, take him out.
They wiped those guys clean. Malabuka Mustache will be licking their lips at that opportunity now. They might just be the last dominant mid-ground team in this game. Can they continue, though, to wipe teams out? 5 builds, they're lacking. Looking similar very much to Cammy and Seti were, but they need to hit bigger shots, bigger firepower, and Stompy gives them that opportunity. Mustache is feeling it. Not got as many eliminations as he did yesterday, but still has that firepower. Vino and Aqua might just have to force them down to low, where they will collide with the Frenchies. Cloaking Clement. Siren as a solo. He doesn't have his teammate, but does he have the shots? Jackson so low, lurking around. All these teams again just posturing towards each other. Eventually, Jackson runs into Cloaking Clement, and Mustache and Malabuka look like they'll have to do the same eventually. But these guys have total control here, and materials left as well.
It'll be a long drag with a minute and 30 still left in the tank. Floki takes out Jackson, but it takes a huge toll on his HP bar. Malabuka now moving, taken down. Aqua and Vino, they see an inch, they grab a mile. Vico also gone, their car running on fumes for the moment, but no, it's refueled. 225 off the harpoon. The mats go straight towards high ground. Stolen. It's a heist from what low ground deserved. Floki and Clement have nothing left. No riches, no wealth for the moment. Everything, the power in Aqua's control. Another VR for this duo. They've taken it so far, but Vino's now affected. Chuck splashes have to come in. Aqua, the only person with max HP. Vino taken down. Aqua looking for the big shot. No mats. 180. The final one. Dodges Floki. One more shout to make. One more voice heard, but Aqua's denied access into the zone. He's looking for it. The mantle. Refresh not loaded. He has no shots in the shotgun. One more put in. Looking for it. Has no mats to Floki. He says hello, but then Floki says goodbye, and Aqua is taken down.
Aqua and Vino were so close to another victory royale, but it just didn't come through at the end. Vino fell too early. Aqua didn't have the materials to stay in the game, and in the end, it was the Frenchies From out of nowhere, it seemed, they dominated the low ground and they closed out the fight. Floki, nerves of steel, using those floppers in the final moments and connecting with a big shot. That was so close, Shayo. But these are the kind of games that mean the most when you're Floki Clement trying to rise your way in the standings.
That was power and space versus control and time. Up top, Aquavino had to take care of so much. They had no ammo left, no mats left. Floki Clement, they waited. They were patient, got things harpooned from them. But that final 2v2, they held strong.
I'll be honest, for a moment, just a slight moment, when Aqua took down Clement, I thought to myself, it's wraps. It is wraps. I just thought, look, he's going to get a refresh, get the mats, it's going to be wraps. But Floki did not lose his cool, kept it going, and I'm sure that's going to reflect on the standings as well.
Absolutely. They have to change drastically with this one. Seti Kami also, and Mustache Malubuka towards that end game. Boys, just take it over. I need to breathe. Take it over.
Wow, my goodness. So, yes, Aquavino did not find themselves the victory royale, but they still had eliminations. They still had the second place. The damage is done.
The damage is done, but one thing was the catalyst that game for the entire leaderboard, and that was Tayson Ugwe going down early. Ooh. This was an absolute shake-up for everyone here. We saw in zone, them kind of running away, trying to find a launch pad. I think they used their only launch pad that they had to get to the 5th zone. Then when it came to moving zones, they just couldn't find anything. They eventually got the reuse on one there, and that took Tayson down, and it was just too late for Ugwe at the same time as well, which is such a shame. They actually, at that moment, had overtaken into 1st place. If you saw right at the bottom, they'd overtaken Vino at that point. What that means now is that all those 3rd and 4th place teams at the time are going to start catching up.
Absolutely crazy. We can't forget Aqua and Vino as well. I mean, just absolutely insane. We have to kind of remind you guys, this is the 50 best duos in EU, and they're still showing up in these games, right?
Yeah, they really are. And they're showing up right up on the high ground. We saw Hen and Queasy there, just all the way up on high ground. And it was almost a remake of what happened earlier on, well, further on down the line. We saw Hen, of course, going down to Vino, the big 180 pump, which we saw, I believe, in the qualifiers. We saw that happen. Or maybe in the qualifiers. And it was just unbelievable scenes. But now we saw, of course, Hen going down to full damage. And that opened the door wide open for Aqua and Vino to take high ground. There was a moment here. This edit right here,
it's crazy.
This was crazy. It may only seem like a little edit, a little ramp edit, but that gave him the elevation over onto Floki, and he was just able to quite get the elimination. He couldn't quite get the elimination onto Floki, though. Very, very close from Aqua, and almost a solo clutch.
Bro, this was, like I said, that ramp flip was probably one of the coolest plays we've seen in any game. We were sitting here on the edge of our, I was going to say seat, on the edge of our stage, just ready for that clutch to happen. I wanted to see that 4th win come through, but unfortunately it wasn't for them. Of course, Floki and Clement, massive props to them for a victory, because that's going to fly them up the leaderboards as well.
Can't forget about Mustache. Oh my God, Mustache and Malibu. I got it. Yeah, let's talk about that duo. Just save me, please. Send help.
I mean, these guys are nuts. Let's be real. At the same time, they have had another great game, right? And this is one of the teams that I've just said has been opened up for by Tayson going down so well. When we see the leaderboards, Mustache Malabuka now are going to be very tight. You know, this was looking like a 2-horse race, like we said. Now, I think there's 4 teams that are in the running for the next 2 games to be able to be the FNCS champions.
Yeah, this was absolutely crazy. I mean, it was a little bit of a choke from Tayson and Ugwe, but look at that. That is the effects that it has had on the rest of the standings. And of course, it gets very, very close, and the points are very, very close as well.
I was wondering there for a second if this would be closer between Vino and Aqua, but of course them being second there, they've jumped up a significant margin at this moment. But now from 2nd to 4th, this is intense. We have to watch Vino and Aqua carefully off spawn here, because if they go down early, yet again, the next 3 teams have that opportunity to catch up.
That'll be, I don't want to say interesting, because then that means the last game of the day will be that much crazier.
Look, I love Vino and Aqua, but you know, we're here for the entertainment.
Oh yeah, we're here for the entertainment. I'm entertained already. If you guys at home are not entertained, I don't know what will, because this is intense. We're seeing teams right at the top, and we saw it in that last game. Every single top team was involved in that end game. Every single one of them had a say, but it was the choke from Tayson and Ugwe that opened the doors wide open for some of these teams that were below them to really move their way up into the leaderboard. And look at that, Vino and Aqua still on top. They're trying to make their way onto the top. They're doing it. They're doing it. There's 2 more games to go. Can they get it done?
They can't make a misstep, though. That's the scariest part, right? We see them fall way too early. They make mistakes like what we just saw, and it's going to cost them an Axe of Champions.
Potentially, and let's be real. Aqua is one of the best players in the world. Before Chapter 2, Season 2, he was in the GOAT discussion, and a long time has passed since then. He's had injuries and all this kind of thing, and for him to have the opportunity now to be able to get another title, man, that sets a lot of people's hopes up, including myself.
Yeah, definitely. We talk about how good Vino is as solo, but let's put some respect on Aqua's name. If there isn't already some there, let's make it, you know, recent. Let's put some recent respect on Aqua's name, because he right there was incredible.
Oh my goodness, guys. Oh, the hype is so real. I'm getting so excited. We are ready here to go into the next game of the FNCS. Remember, we only have 2 left to go, and that's it. We're done for the season. So find your seats on the battle bus. This is game 11.
Game number 11, the penultimate game of the FNCS finals. Everything we've done this season building up to these 2 final games. And once again, it's so tight on the leaderboards. It's such a close race, but one that we're going to have to closely follow across 1 to 5 in that standings.
Yeah, first place kind of has their little bit of a boat ahead on high seas, right? Everyone else side by side. And what we've seen so far, 11, one of these teams usually goes down off spawn, and then one maybe doesn't make it to the end game.
I think the last game definitely had us on the edge of our stage as well, right? But it's very much one that I think the players will be hoping they could get back. Another chance at that, and things maybe go differently. So we're going to head right into the game and see who will step up when it matters truly the most.
And it's not just the top 5, it's the rest of the board as well. This is their last chance to make a change. Their last chance to find some type of rhythm to take in to the final game after this one. Everyone jumping off that bus has one thing on their mind: how does spawn look like? How can we do the most to try and get all the points and win this game?
David and Yakpo over here at the Joneses. This is not the start you want to be having. Save it down to 16 HP. Just the 1 build remaining as well. We'll get the time and space needed, and the auto shot eat will be nice. But he needs to get his HP up first.
Yapko doesn't have the best type of load at all for a fight at the Joneses. You want something a little bit more long range. Okay, not maximum long range. Maybe just an AR somewhere. Another SMG to find. And now he's getting started to be taken down. Has the splashes, or the kegs at least, to be able to take some HP from. But I don't think this is the best start to their day at all.
Some would argue, though, it's a better start than some of the previous ones. We've seen them go down early. We've seen third parties rolling through quickly as well. And so if you're them, you've got to just take this and roll with the punches. Take it within your stride and try it and make the most out of it. Only 1 team going down so far this game. 49 players, or teams, sorry, still in this one.
Fury on the back door, looking for a few shots. Not going to find much. Thing is, Save It and Yapko haven't been farming as much as this team. Look at Fury, 300 builds. They can really force this box fight. We'll have to get in. Have limited ammunition is kind of the situation for both sides. Bubak and Fury have the best loadout to be able to take this fight. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, everyone is playing this so safe and secure. No one has really gone down just yet at all.
Yeah, you can see how patiently Bubak is moving around. It's just slowly but surely taking every single build. This, on the right of our screens, is very interesting. Malabuka playing as a solo. Mustache has been taken out. And this is the fear every single game with this team, right? We know that once you put them in endgames, they can be explosive. But if they can't make it off sport, then even something that can truly be discussed. It looks like Bubak went down to Yakpo over there at the Joneses. And so maybe a bit of a reverse in terms of how that fight has typically played out over the past couple games. But Malabuka, will he be able to bring Mustache back into the game, and will they be able to salvage their game?
What does the game state look like as well? Which teams are kind of sticking around? One of the first times we're watching Hydro and Belusi go down. Hellfire taking out Leon, so they're really stretching maybe to the bottom left side of this map, or maybe Leon switching things up, wants that whiplash, wants the vehicle, wants a better chance at this game. Not gonna happen this time. Tayson, Uguay, second overall, 290 points. They're about 25 away from first.
they need to have a big game, and we know they're capable of it. Of course, I'm sure a lot of people were perplexed about how or what went wrong. Why on earth did they go down in the manner they did? We know teams will look to recycle pads, especially once they have such a long journey to travel. They had to basically travel from one side of Tilted to the other. And so they realized, look, we need to recycle pad. They saw teams padding and they heard a pad. And so they knew there was one on their side, but they just took so long trying to locate it. And it caused them to go down to the storm as they ran out of time and ran out of chug splashes.
I hope they don't go completely opposite this time, right? Like, invest everything immediately. They'll run out of gas to play the rest of the game. I'm talking about still Tyson and Uruguay.
Yeah, the big thing for them, right, is just like, how do you bounce back from such a disappointing game? How do you stay on top of it mentally?
I mean, the mental must be good for Vino Aqua right now. Have a little bit of breathing room. Have Gunner's card for the vault. And the coolest thing I feel like at the moment when we're flying in, their tags overall for first place, glowing red. I think that's villainous. You know, a little bit devious as well. Every team looking at them as the villain to overtake, and no one's done it so far. Look at that.
You can see it is glowing red, and that's very much something that I think is representative, especially in the manner that you referred to it, of who they are and their identity in this lobby.
Okay, are we gonna see something akin to Qualls? Are we gonna see a clash early? Vino's kind of by himself, and things are being taken into account here from those teams in Command Cavern fighting inside. On the outside, we saw Mustache go down. I think Pink and Anas know exactly where the card is and are really guarding him out. I think Malabuka's the biggest issue right now.
Perhaps he needs to get away.
Yeah.
They just found out that they're chasing.
Oh my goodness, he's going straight into Thomas and Trippin right now. They're gonna hear that zip line as well. They're following fast. Malabuka, how long can he survive until the help comes from the team on the right side? Thomas and Trippin, they're going to see things now. Anas and Pink stopping the tracks. Pink down to 1 HP, and I think I see Aqua on the other side. This is a huge domino effect. Team after team now in Cavern. The top 5 of the board are looking at each other, seeing what to do next.
Malabuka is not just making waves right now, he's caused a tsunami. All these top Cavern teams now just looking at each other, postured up against one another, all because Malabuka was trying to scurry around and get his teammate back in the game.
Who got the scan?
Scan will come through. I think regardless of who got the scan, the fight now is just not much of a possibility. All teams need to retreat, and Malabuka will get a scan of his own just to get that extra information, and so he'll know Pink is below him. But wow, that was almost really dicey. That could have been like actual just FNCS, like Tyson and Uruguay would have just been a vibing looking at the feed if that had broken out into a fight there.
Hey, so would have Steady and Cam, and I think that's the biggest thing right now. Every time we see issues with these Cavern teams, we see issues with all the Cavern teams inside the game. Every time it's outside of the Cavern, then it's just Steady and Cammy and Tyson and Uge with the issues. They kind of have a separation inside the top 5. Meanwhile, for the rest of the lobby, the top 30, the top 15, Squeeze and Alex, not done just yet. It feels like they're taking, you know, 1 stride in, 2 strides out when it comes to these games, in some good end game positions, but then targeted by other teams. It's tough for them to find a footing.
Yeah, I think they had big expectations coming into it, haven't quite lived up to that. You know, we were joking about how they got boxed game 1 of day 1, and they sort of never had the momentum back from that, right? It was just really tough on them. Obviously, you talked about how they're better game day 2 players. I'm not sure if it's been too much better than what they had in day 1, but certainly a team who, with 2 good last couple games, they can move themselves up a great deal. And that's the big thing. Of course, we all have our eyes on seeing who will be the ones to get the ultimate victory royale and win the whole event. But moving yourself up in the standings, even if it is from 30th to 17th, for example, that is huge in terms of the prize earning potential.
Scram and Hellfire will have that on their mind as well. The similarity between them and the duo we just looked at, Andalex and Squeeze, both first place finishers inside their respective qualifiers. For Scram Hellfire, it was the 3rd, and then for Andalex and Squeeze, it was that 2nd one. I think the biggest difference between then and now are some of these god teams rolling in. Some of the people inside the top 5. Andalex got to play overall when Aqua wasn't in the business. Hellfire scrammed the way they were playing. Mustache and Malabuka weren't around. Now with those extra factors in play, you can see the real difficulty of these lobbies.
Yeah, and you're seeing the difficulty Aqua's facing, just trying to make his way through Cavern now as the zone's closing in. Thomas and Trippin, we talked about how many times we saw this fight during the qualifiers. They've been civil so far in the finals.
Look at the left side. So many arrows, both in the cavern and then looking at it for Surge when people start to move out.
Yeah, but these teams, a lot of them will be able to stay in the cavern for a decent amount of time. The north side of the zone looks a bit less congested, and so I think we're starting to see maybe some of those teams vying to go up that side towards the logjam lumberyard area, but they can't all go there.
Meanwhile, on greener pastures, Tayson Ugwe, no difference at all for them. Still surprising to see that, you know, not everyone's familiar with the cannon no-build situations that are happening. Let's familiarize ourselves with what has been happening in game with Minimine.
Thank you, Shai. Now, we're looking at Tayson and Ugwe right now. They're picking up tags in a very uncharacteristic and a sort of unusual way. They're not actually boxed up just outside of the collider. A lot of teams are boxed up in huge bases, which really alerts the other teams around them that there are teams around nearby. So if they're not in the box, they can stay a little bit more low-key and pick up a lot more tags.
To do it all sneaky beaky like.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was only a better one.
It's good for them to do that, though, because when they have that freedom of moving around a little bit, not tied to a 3-story box, things like this can happen. Fights break out, they can stretch into them, they can fight from the outside in, they can hold on to their space and spread out wide instead of high. As a result, picking up an early elimination, having pads as well in tow, Tayson Ugwe looking really good.
Yeah, with the zone sort of meaning that a lot of the teams are going to be coming towards the collider. If they're set up in a nice position, they'll continue to get more eliminations, more tags. Malabuka still in this one as a solo. Unfortunately, though, still doesn't have Mustache with him. In one of the newer parts of Command Cavern, some people, if you've been playing the season, you don't recognize where he is in Command Cavern. In the newest update, he added an extra sneaky little area. Still nice. Some extra loot there. Because, of course, we all know Cavern needed more loot,
100%,
right?
yeah. I literally, like, you know, reported that in game. We need more Cavern loot. I want 20 teams landing here.
Oh, man, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, man. One of the teams having a little bit of struggle some games off landing. Other games looking really well. They were just on our screen, True Lex Chicho. We'll tune in with them in a sec. They're looking on the way outside end of that top 10. Vino, tagged up by Malabuka. This man does not want to go down without a fight. Aqua now looking at him, bobbing and weaving through the grates of the scaffoldings on the right. He finds a few tags.
I love how even as a solo here, right, still making to stay on top of Surge. Even though he knows, like, these are, like, some of the best teams, the best players. It's only really, you know, the God squads in this general area, but I ain't fumbling. I'm getting my damage for Surge so that when I do get Mustache back in the game, hopefully, if that is the goal for him, they aren't struggling in that regard. Nicely done. Still has a way to go, though, as you can see. Just barely above it.
Where is this zone going? I mean, in a good place for both Thomas and Tayson right now. Usually when I'm saying that in seasons past, I'm talking about one team. In this one, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on what you're a fan of, that is two different ones entirely. Nebs and Kinzel, they're taking fights of their own, getting close and personal to be able to solve their Surge issues. We mentioned Surge, Levin mentions tags. We're talking about a mechanic where if you don't deal enough damage, you get dealt damage. And you can see the threshold on the right side of the screen that tracks the damage you do. Two different situations. Nebs and Kinzel on the left side don't have that much, just double digits above. They're still fighting. Cammy and Seti, a little bit more strategic, cranial, patient, outside in, not looking for box fights. They're up high because they've based up so early, Levin. They've been going for tags since, like, the game started.
Yeah, but even in that regard, right, you see how they're rotating in late, right? They're one of the few teams still yet to make their way into zone, and that's going to cost them here. So many players looking at them. You can see those arrows in the bottom right, directed in their way. They finally are able to get themselves into a building over at the collider.
Oh my. And Alexa Sweet's pushing them. These are the two different stakes. And they know the damage.
They're so aggressive.
He's down. And Cammy is gone next. Third place in the second last game, taken out by 30th.
That is huge. Andelets and its Swedes are such an aggressive team. And so given an opportunity to fight for Surge like that, they usually will take it. And unfortunately, Cammy and Seti on the receiving end of that, they got the rotation wrong. They were way too late, made themselves a target. And speaking of targets, Malabuka, is he about to 1v2 Benji, Fishy, and Savage? Is this a repeat of some steamy stacks action from way back when? Some old comrades, or foes, I should say, going at it. And Mr. Savage, I don't think Benji will be able to get him back up, so they're just going to have to 1v1 now. All the fanboys already going at it on socials. But who's going to win this fight? Malabuka has already picked up one. The Siphon comes in, and that puts him at 200 HP. And Benji now needs to stay composed, can't afford to start shaking, wobbling. He has to stay strong, and he does. Hits a big shot. That's nice from Benji, but Malabuka returns with one of his own. Both of them pushing against each other, but just as Benji turns around, Malabuka says night-night. A 1v2 from Malabuka on Benji, Fishy, and Mr. Savage.
Seasons of frustrations, a whole chapter's worth of a fight.
Oh my goodness.
Put into the power of Malabuka's beam. It's Malabuka time, baby.
No, that genuinely is generational frustration. The war for steamy stacks. And maybe the true victors. So do I. Wow. We're throwing it back right now in game number 11 of the FNCS. We've got this game and one more to follow until we crown our champions. And Vanyak and Kami.
Is that from Malabuka as well? No.
No.
Someone else.
No. I was about to say, if that was Malabuka again, it was Radil that took him out. But Malabuka, he seems to have the power of two players in one. Mustache is watching from the sidelines, but I'm sure he's impressed. We'll see how much more damage Malabuka can do in these games.
My man better be getting a raise after this. What we're seeing right now in Storm out of Storm is just insane, and it pulls towards the middle as well. Advantageous for many duels all the way around. There'll be tons of distractions. All these solos, like Malabuka right now, will have so much more room to move in towards Shifty. Ju as well in that same spot, 6th place, and he knows that Cammy Seti ahead of him down. He's seen Malabuka just soloing so far, and Mustache possibly down in the feed as well. He'll be able to just fly quickly. A few tags taken on another team in front of him to quickly switch sights to himself, and everyone then looks at him in the lobby. You cannot fly for free.
I get the desperation, wanted to try get into zone, but that was not the pad there to make. So many eyes were on him. Nobody was really doing anything, and so the instant in which he padded, that caught the attention of everybody else in the lobby. Just got way too ahead of himself there, Ju, unfortunately. And so now for a team that's done so well, they'll have to wait till the last game.
We're seeing the perspective of high ground right now. This is literally high ground right here, based up side by side. Aqua, Vino, Thomas, Tripper, Hen, Queasy. Every game, one of these guys is starting on heights, and Aqua and Vino's taking it right after the fact.
The three beacons of height, and like you said, when Aqua and Vino have a say, they've just not lost it. I've never seen a team just be so effective and so consistent in winning the battles for height.
And that consistency is making the lobby mad. Once again, follow that red glow around them. Embrace their darkness right now as they fly towards the center of the circle, battling against Mustache and Malabuka. Their surge should be fine. A pad also for Thomas and Tripper to use. A pad as well for the next team, and Queasy to fly by with Malabuka still alive right now, and somehow his mats look so good. 2 elims moving into zone. He's fine for the next stage of the game.
He's gonna pull zone here, watch.
Can my voice go any higher than this, by the way? Like, what is going on?
Imagine the scenes if he pulls zone here. The absolute scenes if he pulls zone.
Should I talk to my crows?
You gotta talk to the crows, it might be time.
Oh, but Thomas AC's on screen as well, you know. You know what my crows like.
You can't play both sides.
They're on opposite sides of the map right now. Aqua slightly towards the middle. You can see what that red team's going for. Resguard and Clown, 16th place, just like Analex and Squeeze. Their stakes slightly different. Below on Surge as well. They will be looking to aggro here, dealing that damage. And once Resguard starts, he cannot stop. It's Save It, and Yapko and Save It is stopped in his tracks. The running man. Oh my goodness.
That is so rough. When the tree's there like that, you can't build on it. And Save It was not aware to that. He dropped down on the wrong side. Ref guard was prepared and took him out.
Malibuka pulling that zone towards the south side. The Crows have spoken. He's there and he's chilling, and he has to stay secure.
I knew it. The script writers, they don't even try hide it anymore. They don't even try hide it. Malibuka pulls the zone. He's claimed the Benji RNG.
Think about this though, right? This man is surrounded by warriors who are thirsty and hungry. Everyone around here is low on Surge. I think Clement and Floki were taking damage from Surge. It's stopped now. Malibuka, he's in trouble.
He could be very well in trouble, but the good thing is that when moving starts, there are teams around him that we know have pads, and so he will be able to recycle. So realistically, bar any hiccups, he's going to be in the end game. He's going to be in the moving zones, and when that's a possibility, we know what Malibuka can do. Vino, this guy, this brother.
His shots are like heartbeats, Levin.
This brother.
Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean?
So
That's
rhythmic.
all he needs.
It's so rhythmic. The pattern is just so clean. But we know where it's all leading to. Eventually, a height take will be needed. Queasy and Hen, as usual, posturing towards it for first moving.
Oh, I'm worried. I'm worried. Every time Queasy and Hen are in this situation, I mean, look at the comms, you watch their streams, one of them does something, Levin. One of them just ends up building too many ramps or goes crazy. This time, it actually works for him. Hen, who's usually the overbuilder, the overachiever in these moments, finds Jackson. It's a vital elimination, big points for his team.
You know, we've seen this many times today already. These guys looking healthy, strong on height, pressuring teams all around the lobby. But once Vino and Aqua start getting involved, they start to shut up, they start to get quiet, their hands get clammy. And you can see Hen looking in the direction of them.
They're spotting something. These guys have been in this position 3 times now. They haven't won against Aqua once. They find a beam, huge, that's Vico down, finds the second part of the duo, sees pads all around him. They have not been able to successfully defend height against Aqua and Vino. Those guys alive in this game looking for their pad, their chance to take control once again.
So many players and names in the sky. We talked about how Malibuka would be able to recycle a pad. That's exactly what he's done. But where can he land? Will he look to land on someone and just get in their box? Not doing that just yet. Actually, he will, though. Takes the wall. There is a duo in that box, but he doesn't care. He just wants to hit some shots. Can't connect to a big enough pump. 40 gets done. Can he get the knock? He will get the finish as well. And that's huge. No, he won't be able to recover the body. I thought he'd be able to throw it away and get the loot from it. He desperately will need it, but Chicho is below him and blocking that path.
Now on the top left side, heading Queasy. They're waiting for it. Aqua and Vino way back in the storm, have splashes. Might do the exact same that Tayson and Uber did games before. Aqua, he's gonna find a last-minute siphon, jump straight into the zone. Huge for him to live, but look up top. The one-game wonders, it feels like, every day. No O'Reilly and Badil, they're here.
This might be the game where they do it. Queasy and Hen, again, trying to chop height, and they will chop it successfully. No O'Reilly having to take a moment to breathe, and in that minute, Queasy and Hen have regained height, and they've regained their power. But can they continue to exert their force on the rest of the lobby? Tripping down below with just one build and a drum shotgun with a dream.
Command Cavern doesn't stop the action just yet. Pink taken down. Aqua and Osprey taken down by Vino, so looks like he's in the clutch position for now. Trippin by himself as well. They're all basically divided into solos. Floki finally taken away from the low ground as well. Trippin on the back walls. Look at what's happened on height. Taste and Uguay looking to take first place away from the villains of Cavern. They do it from the Collider. They make it look good, but look at the cost, Levin. Barely any match to their name.
Yeah, and they're having to drop down. They can't continue to apply this pressure. They have to move. Vino on the bottom of your screen as a solo gets taken out. And so now, Chapix, Uguay, Tayson, trying to regain height. They're going back for it. Big damage being dealt, but the dodge will respond. He's dodging bullets. Can he continue to do it though in the zone? No. Gets crushed by Hen. Queasy still on height now, but no builds to really say anything about it. Can they connect with some big shots? Pads coming through. They need to do something, and someone else is coming for high ground now.
Queasy has to use his own teammates. Will side it up. It's another chop. They're using everything that they can. A fourth one. Hen and Queasy, maximum defense on high ground.
Kira and Judy were no match for those two. Trulex on low ground now. He spots Deceptos and Reason, but wisely choosing to dodge that fight and looking for Mappy instead. But eventually he will get spotted. Somebody has to see a low ground player with no materials, and they will snuff him out. And now Reason and Deceptos trying to do it on low.
Many teams still alive. Hen and Queasy, pocket harpoon, keeps their mats alive, and he's going for the reconnect Hen. Can he really find it? Mappy found a way. He's so short to get inside these builds. Still a king though, no one gone down just yet. He's looking for his next shot to survive. Queasy still raining down on wood builds below. Snazy Podicide made it here, and they're so hard to get rid of. Reason on the backside, it's a huge bounce back, and everyone will start to collide. They will not have much of a say. Reason will be thrown into the fray. Inside a blender right now, looking for the turns to stop. Reason's trying to find something, anything inside these builds, but he can't see, he can't speak, and man, Happy can't even breathe. On low ground, trying to tickle Podicide's feet, looking for it, but he stays secure.
You can see how careful Mappy is treating this situation, realizes how delicate it is, realizes he can't make the wrong step, he can't move the wrong piece on the chessboard, and unfortunately goes down to Podicide and Snazy, who have tried everything they can to have their say in this final, and maybe finally getting that opportunity.
Reason their final kind of pylon in the way of that low ground road, and they still haven't gotten rid of him. One man with just barely any HP causes this much ruckus. Hen and Queasy are here again. Big shots landed. Hen barely surviving. The Siphon doesn't come in. 1v1 for Queasy. Lands the big crack shot, and after that, the victory royale.
Queasy and Hen, how do they do it? The reigning champions with another victory royale on the day, pushing themselves into the top 10 without fear. Hen dropped down, got a knock, got finished, but then it was Queasy. The brains came through and hit some shots to win the game. What a display. We talked about whether they'd be able to hold high ground Shio, and finally being able to do it against the big dogs.
Mantled over Aqua, chopped down Vidil, blocked off against Dirty, all the way towards the top, and at the end, he drops down. It was Queasy on defense, and Hen there on the aggressive, just turret type of fire with these shotguns. Dynamic duo.
In so many of these games, they've struggled when hurdles have been put in front of them. This game, running over them. Gold medal in the Olympics right there. Had no issues whatsoever. Queasy and Hen are pushing their way into the fray.
Yeah, and it feels like this was a game of extras, right? A lot of those low ground players were not the top 5 teams. Malabuka, he survived for a little bit, but he was taken down. Trippin couldn't clutch. Vino couldn't survive either.
So many of those teams down below, right, were struggling, right, running into each other. And when you run into people on low, you know how messy it gets. These guys stayed cool, though. We're going to send it to the desk to break that all down as we head into the final game of the FNCS.
Game number 11, Hen and Queasy coming up huge in this, and I just want to go ahead and let you guys know, okay? Just today, before going into this game, today alone, they've earned 134 points before this game even transpired. And now they're showing up. I'm telling you, day 2 team, I knew, I believe, you know, that was me.
I mean, I asked you if you believed last time when they won. We all believed. We all believed. Today alone, they've gained the most points. By now, with this win, by a considerable margin as well. They were all, unfortunately, the fact yesterday they only had a couple. Realistically, they were 41st on the leaderboard, like I already mentioned earlier, basically last. Now, with the most points on day 2 alone, it's a shame they didn't perform like this on day 1.
Yeah, it really is. And yesterday we were talking about a few of the things they could have done better, of course, you know, fixing a few things, and they've come out stronger today. And oh boy, are they doing it in style. They're doing it on high ground, the traditional Hen and Queasy way of playing. They're not trying to adapt their play style. They're thinking, you know what? If we can do it our way, we will. And they are doing it to perfection. Of course, Queasy with a great late clutch right there to close out the game and get them the victory.
It's interesting because both of the games that these guys have won so far have also been games that Aqua and Vino struggled earlier on. You know, so we said yesterday that was their main hurdle, but potentially it's not a hurdle that they've improved on, but a bit coincidental that they've taken advantage of the fact that Aqua and Vino have gone down early.
Again, right, we see something similar happen this last game. These duos have this freedom. They're suddenly thinking, this top team's out. We can make a play. We have to do something right here, right now. Absolutely incredible. We got to talk about another duo as well. Cammy and Seti. How are these guys doing?
Man, down early. Similarly, to Murstache and Malabuka. Of course, we can see from the POV down the bottom left, you just see Murstache's HP draining away. They drop down way earlier than they normally would, right? Then we get to see Kaminsei do the exact same thing. A little bit of a push in the mid game at this point, which is something so surprising. Like, we're really, really not used to seeing these guys. I mentioned a stat yesterday. There's only been there were 0 single matches prior to this in a set lobby that they went down before 4th zone. Across these 12, we've seen it happen at least twice.
Gentlemen, this is it. We have one game left to go. We got to talk about how this could all end after this final game. An Axe of Champions, $300,000 for a dude that can come in first place. But once again, how is this gonna look to shake out after this next game?
It's getting crazy. It's getting kind of crazy. We're talking about the top teams here because that is the teams that we really want to focusing on, because these are the guys that take home the new Axe of Champions. We're talking about Vino and Aqua. Can they do it going into the last game? What are they? 29 points ahead of Tayson and Uguay. Very quick, very good. But yeah, 29 points ahead of Tayson and Uguay. So the gap is definitely there. But I think if they choke, it could be done for Tayson and Uguay here.
Straight up, they need... they have to go down early, I think, in order for Tayson and Uguay to win this game. Like, with a 29-point lead, you got to remember, 32 points from the Victory Royale is what you're going to get. I'm trying not to do too much mental arithmetic because it usually will go horribly wrong. But I think Tayson would need an absolutely incredible 10-15 elimination win if these guys even got into the mid-game relatively close to that. So we have to keep an eye on them again.
Yeah, we really do. And of course, we saw Vino clutching up a little bit extra placement in that final game. So when you have a player like that on your team, you know that you can really push for those later stages of the game. But as you mentioned, Reese, it's going to be tough for them, Tayson and Uguay. But if any team can do it, I think you got to fancy it.
I agree. One of the other things I want to point out, though, however, look at this, right? This is a big gap. This is getting real close, though. You know, we're looking at what they need to do to win. But at the same time, to get second, to get up there, there's so many teams still within this. We're still basically looking at the same 4 teams who could potentially make it up into that point. I'm looking at Murstache and Malibu kind of wondering, can they get another 16 elimination Victory Royale? Obviously, they only got second on day 1 with that. But if they pop off with 15, 16 eliminations, which I believe they absolutely can, could they make it up into that first place slot? Because that's enough points.
Yeah, they really could. And of course, off spawn in that last game wasn't too great for them. We saw Murstache going down a little bit earlier on, but we saw Malabuka clutching up as well as a solo. We saw him take out Benji, Fishy, and Mr. Savage in a nice little 2v1. We saw him making it into that the sort of top 25. Of course, those consistent placement points you're getting when you get to that stage. And he's really, really doing great in those end games. Another great solo performance from Malabuka.
Absolutely wild. One game left to go here before we see the conclusion of the Chapter 3 Season 2 FNCS here in Europe. Remember, continue to cheer for your favorite duos, right? We just saw Hen and Queasy jump from 41st all the way up to 8th place after just 5 games. And now we can see more of that happen across these standings, right? Follow along. Watch that bottom left. Track along with the points. See where the duo is, what their placements are. This is it. Everyone find your seats on the bus. This is Game 12 of the EU FNCS.
A glorious season comes down to one final game. Struggles and success thrown into the pot to make one big champion. Levin, it's Vino and Aqua in the lead.
They hold on to the crown at the moment, but will they be able to hold on as we head into this final game? So much pressure riding on it. If you're Tayson and Uguay, do you decide to land on them? Because that really would be that would be the FNCS winning play, right? You take them out off spawn, you play the game out. Of course, maybe I'm getting a bit overzealous. But at the end of the day, somebody has to pull out something to put those guys to a stop.
Absolutely. If you're also watching at home, this is the best time to tune in. High stakes, $1.3 million on the line for one of the hardest regions to play in the world. It's the final game of FNCS for Chapter 3 Season 2 in Europe.
And we're heading right into it. Players leaving the battle bus, heading to their POIs. And for some of these players, heading to their last dance in this session. We've seen so many off-spawn battles between many different top-level teams. We've even seen, for some of these teams, the last time they will ever play with each other, potentially. But who will step up in this final game?
who will get to step down off of spawn is the big question. Command Cavern on your screen homes 3 of the teams inside the top 5. Looking to see what they can do next. Aqua and Vino dropping straight inside. We haven't seen this POV right off the rip just yet because it hasn't mattered too much before in terms of what exactly happens off spawn, but this game, we have to stay in tune with the Cavern.
Maybe I missed it, but I don't think I saw Gunner on their side. So this might be a game where they don't have the vault and its fruitful launch pads. And so maybe that is the one contingency for the rest of the teams who need them to stumble. Malibuca Mustache, though, leading the way in eliminations in the finals. Characteristically, we know that is one of their biggest strengths and selling points. But can they stay up and have that big pop-off game?
So the difference between them and their teammates, or enemies, I should say, inside the Cavern. I'm getting flustered myself. 3rd and 21st place, right? Pink and Nas having a little bit of a rough time. Meanwhile, 6th for joins the Andy. Synapse Station this time, you can see the desperation for some of the teams way far away in the standings trying to get all the way towards the top. Reason the Siptos immediately moving in. Top 6 up for grabs or just threatened for the moment. Thomas G and Tripper in 5th place right now in the Cavern, so far away from everyone else.
We're gonna see so much posturing between all these teams. They did have the vault. Gunner spawned on their side. And so they will hold the keys when it comes to the launch pads.
Mustache down, Malibuca gone.
No.
292 points is where they are deleted by Anas and Pink.
For it to all come tumbling down like that. They had such an impressive run leading up to this moment, this game. But Pink and Anas put it to an end. And that one's personal for Pink and Anas. They've suffered in this session as a result of the dominance of Malibuca and Mustache. And so to take them out, to end their run in the FNCS, end their dreams and hopes of maybe doing the spectacular and coming back. No hope. But Malibuca and Mustache have really impressed. They've been a joy to watch. They provided for so much entertainment. And wherever they do finish now, congratulations to them, props to them. But now we will watch as Uruguay and Tayson, Vino and Aqua battle it out for 1st place.
310 points for Tayson and Uruguay. Looking at the hill they have to really climb. It's a 29-point, almost 30-point differential. Looking at what they have in terms of the way they've been moving around the map. Reese and Minnie have been up here many times to talk about the utility they use. It's just chain mobility. There's geysers, there's cannons. That's the natural mobility in the map right now. They keep chaining it. It's the reason they can get to any zone. It's the reason they can call any place home in a matter of seconds. No applications required. They're there. They're building up. And meanwhile, Cammy and Seti, for them, it's been a little bit rocky. A team that has to be maximum in inconsistency. Has to be there every single game. They miss out a few, they tumble down in the ranks. So right now, 284 points used to be in the equation for top 3. They're just looking outside in. Gonna need a huge swing if they want to win this FNCS.
We're already seeing the beef taking place at Tilted Towers.
Bad Sniper DKS, Benji Fishy and Savage, 38th and 39th place.
This is for everything, right? This is for their own egos, their fan bases who like to battle it out on socials. Who will be victorious between these two? Last season, it was Bad Sniper and DKS by a long mile. This season, though, it's an opportunity for Benji and Savage to get the one up.
This season, they're on the same streets. They're right beside each other in the same houses. Savage and Benji looking for a single shot, and you can tell that it's personal in this fight. Usually, there's a huge rotation. This time, they're looking for the shots. DKS scratched up a little bit. Look at just the fury, the focus from Savage, the tracking, the beams, DKS down in the feed.
The combat SMG, an absolute laser in that moment. The drum shotgun as well is relentless. Bad Sniper now with just 5 builds. You can see what it means to Benji and Savage after getting 2v1 last game by Malibuca. This one means everything. This is their chance to have at least one saving grace in these finals. That sniper won't make it easy for them. But for how long can he run?
He's trying to hide for the moment. It's going to be found out multiple times. Juice control drop down from Savage as Benji follows in the fray, looking for any single shot. As soon as he has a second, land a tag. It's ringing around the rosy on all sides. How long can Bad Sniper keep this up? The third party, Savage, he's seeing red. He doesn't even care. Hit in the back multiple times. On the side, he finally defends, but still, he's in the business to look at Bad Sniper. Everyone, the community looks like it's helping him out.
Bad Sniper, man. How has he managed to just get away? I'm sure Benji and Savage are fuming. He just won't give them the inch, the space. And so now, having to resort to just getting their HP back up. But they have overtaken, right? Well, they are sitting in 36, sorry. So they're moving up slowly but gradually in the leaderboard. We'll see where they end at this game.
That's not the win for them. For them in this FNCS, Bad Sniper needs to go down. That is what they want in this game.
Queasy and Hen will be wanting everyone above them to go down. They've had a phenomenal comeback. They started the day way down below. They were in the 40s, Shy Wager, at one point.
40s?
They were in the 40s at one point. I think they were 41st coming into today.
8th now.
8th. Craziness, bro. Absolute madness. But as much as it's not been an easy season for them, this is why you can't count them out. They are an FNCS winning duo, and they are of that level still. And finally finding their rhythm. We'll see how far they can take that into this last game. But when it comes to rhythm, Vino and Aqua will be looking to re-hit theirs. So consistent on the day. The most placement of anybody else. More victory royales than anybody else.
They just look so good. Sometimes they don't make it off spawn. Sometimes it's an issue rolling in. But they see that top 10 Levin. It's a win. It's a second place. It's a third. I think their worst time in the top 10 has been in 8th place. And that's when they just started overall on the day yesterday. That was their first game. After that, sky high. And they've just been villains with this whole lobby that no one's taken down.
Yeah, they've made it look like such easy work, right? We talked yesterday about how coming into the FNCS, they were considered by most people the de facto down at all, provided for the entertainment, showing us why they are such a strong height team, and showed us why Command Cavern is considered such a strong POI.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the teams that's not landing there, though, just towards their own side, carving their own path, I think, every single season, and dubbing it with their names. Cami, Seti, 4th place right now. We talked about their consistency overall. Unfortunately, going down in one game, absolute issue for them in total. We'll have a similar zone that we've seen before inside the European FNCS on day 1. Usually this one pulls up towards Sleepy. We'll see if that's a possibility, giving Hen and Queasy even more of an advantage. But you talk about Cavern teams, one with high expectations that have landed the mark a little bit. Thomas and Trippin on screen right now.
I think with Thomas and Trippin, where they sit right now is exactly where most people expected them to. I think if we were to be able to find a way to look at all the prediction lists made across the past week, I think more often than not, their average placement on those prediction lists would be 5th.
Yeah.
So to see them in 5th is just where they probably have been expected to perform. I'm sure they would have had high expectations for themselves. But nevertheless, neither an overperformance nor an underperformance from them. But we'll see. Maybe they can push their way up a tiny bit more. A bit of extra dosh is never something to laugh about.
$300,000, by the way, for first place here today. And that's exactly what everyone's trying to strive for. That Axe of Champions 2.0 also up for grabs, as Anas grabs another elimination as well. It's a $1.3 million prize pool in total that's split amongst these teams in EU.
On the top of our screens, you see Tayson there with Uguay, the Falcon boys. What does this mean for Tayson, right? If he was to come back somehow and find a way to win another FNCS title, how would that be for him?
Might just be the greatest of all time. And this time it's not a joke. He has been in that conversation. It's been across regions, across seas as well. Tayson versus Bugha. That's what everyone, the comparison is, right? Look at his earnings in general, Evan. What is he on right now without any early Fortnite types of earnings? Just the FNCS so far, right? Where does he stack?
If Tayson was to win this FNCS, that would bring him to $950,000 earned without any World Cup earnings. Usually when you hear a number that big with a Fortnite player, you can expect them to have made something big in the World Cup days. He had none of that. This is just from FNCS, Cash Cup, just hard work and grit.
And so it's his new age legacy up against some of those Titans that played inside the World Cup. Up against one just dominant player that's won multiple FNCSs before, which is Bugha across the season in the East.
This is a huge game for him. One of the potential games of his life, maybe, he needs to pull off.
You talk about expectations people have. We think Tayson doesn't do well when he doesn't win an FNCS. Just think about that. If he doesn't get first in the hardest region to play, arguably, it's wraps for him.
We'll see what he can do. Thomas hitting some big shots for Surge there. I feel like a broken record talking about his ability to do damage when it comes to getting Surge.
I mean, no surprise from Thomas. Biggest surprise, I feel like, on the days on our screens, Joe and Zandy. I mean, talk about their story just specifically in this FNCS. Qualifier 1, game number 6. They start things off not inside the top 6 at all. Not inside a position to play the FNCS. Final game, big clutch from Joe and Zandy. They're allowed to play, and now they're 6th place coming into the last game of this FNCS.
Not only are they 6th place, they have made it look so good. They've just been such a force, such a threat. The Dark Horse team out of Sign-Up Station, making a POI that maybe sometimes gets memed. Looks like a very strong one. Seti and Camilo, they need to stay in this game. They can't afford to go down now. 4th place is impressive. Would it be able to hold with Thomas and Trip and Chasen? I'm not sure. They need to stay in it. 177 above, but so much pressure being applied. The map's dwindling. Cammy down to just wood. Hellfire and Scramlo, they're angry. They see red. They see Holes, who are looking weak. And sitting in 9th place, they want to secure a top 10.
Gonna topple over the building. Cammy also still going for tags, 215 above, but they for sure want more. Thing is, you see a team that's running this far away, a Hellfire Scram, they have to know it's one of those teams inside the top 5. Zandy, Joe right beside them as well. 6th, 9th, and 4th, side by side in the same box as 10th watches from far away. Whatever happens here will change the scope for the rest of this game.
So much on the line for these teams. All their interactions are so meaningful for the standings. The top players, the ones that have really just shined their way through this FNCS. This is their chance now to cement themselves in the history of this season. Hellfire and Scram struggling with Surge though, and it's not something that I've had to say too little. We've seen this in previous games. We saw how aggressive they tried to get onto Cammy and Seti to deal with it, but they didn't allow them. And now Cammy and Seti might realize the pain these guys are in and see that as an opportunity for them.
Scram just being targeted by the rest of the lobby as well. Seti and Cammy, their turtle defense, the thick shell that's so hard to crack. It's allowing every single other beast in the animal kingdom to join this fight and hop down. But Joe and Zandy leap to a place where they are not welcome. This is not your kingdom, and they've been taken out.
They got a bit too overzealous there. They tried to capitalize on Hellfire and Scram, and that they did. But then taken out by the team spraying, and Cammy and Seti were able to swoop through as well.
And for them, they use so much to run away from Hellfire Scram. So many mats. I was about to say, it doesn't matter what happens here. They're not going to be well off at all. But now 2 teams worth of loot fall at the doorstep of Seti and Cammy. Tayson takes out Kinzel as well. Been a huge force in the end game to interrupt the layers that this specific duo, both these duos on screen, like to play. So with that pressure gone, what can this second place team do to make up that 30-point differential?
Yeah, you can see Tayson and Chapix rotating their way on in late. And you can already see the effects of that. There's teams in the zone looking at them, making it difficult for them to rotate their way in. They do get their way into the zone, which is a good thing. They will survive for now. But very much a dicey situation to be in for these guys. A replay from Chapix. What did he manage?
Oh, yeah, my.
He's on one. He's on one. That's it.
That's not allowed.
That's it right there.
That's not allowed.
Kinzel caught sleep. But Chapix, in fact, he wasn't even caught sleep. Chapix put him to sleep. Uguay hitting mad shots right now.
So the Cami have a little bit of ways to go. We've been talking about narrative and storyline. Let's look at the gameplay now. Every single team's been set up in different boxes so far. The zone's been around them. It hasn't been a problem yet for a lot of these guys, but now they'll have to start to move. Tayson Uguay, same situation. Might have taken out Kinzel. Nebs, angry about things so far. Gonna be tough for them overall.
They know he's a solo above, and so if he starts to get too much of a problem, they can deal with him. They hear him. They know he's right there on their same layer as well. But they need to make sure that they don't make too much noise. There are players, again, who are in the zone, who can look towards them. And so you see the change, the point of attack. They tried to go from a different angle. They wanted to put Nebs in between the teams in zone and them. But there was another team ready and waiting, looking. So they'll give that one up, and they'll make their way into the zone. And there's a pathway for that, but it's Hen in front of them as well. Hen and Queasy. All these guys have such a storied past. Tayson, Uguay, Hen, all very familiar with each other. Queasy as well, you could say the same. Ex-teammates colliding in these final moments of the FNCS.
The collisions that Tayson and Uguay have been taking so far have given them up towards 1,000 damage above Surge. They can just chill for the rest of this game. Second place as well. Just think about how to win the FNCS. Think about how to stop Vino and Aqua. For Seti, Cami, playing defense this long, not having a voice. The mime equation for them has been the whole game. Silent, they're just 30 above. Meanwhile, Aqua, Vino, looking at them, 400. They're fine.
Strong.
They're looking so strong. We're to zone pull in 5 seconds. That'll dictate if they're still the maestros of this game or just part of the pack in the orchestra. Aqua now taking tons of damage, but it's fine. They will have to move. It's not going to be a max one, but we'll have lots of people by their side. The team that's bullying them, one of the players just went down. If Aqua could hear that, they might even go for that box fight. Might be risky. Chulex Chicho, they're going to have their FNCS run stop here, but what a nice one it's been.
Yeah, definitely came into this FNCS with not as high expectations as maybe they would have wanted, but nevertheless, they were able to put themselves in contention at times. Top 10 performance is not bad whatsoever, even with some of the trials and tribulations they faced this season.
For Seti, Cami, those trials, they continue. I mean, you play defense for so long, you survive, you're not able to live. And that's the issue right now. They haven't had an effect, an impact, even a scratch on this entire server. And now they'll sacrifice their position to look for those tags. They'll be late in moving. Cami now taken down inside the storm. He is gone. 4th place so far. Said he cannot make the pad. And their story for this FNCS ends outside the top 3.
Another example of a team just stumbling short. And so now Thomas and Trippin will have a chance to move up in the standings. Aqua and Vino with pre-edit plays. They are on one, but hold on a minute. They can't afford to go down. Aqua needing to take a step back. You can see they're clearly confident right now, but they can't allow that confidence to turn into arrogance. They need to stay humble. They need to just hold on. The longer they hold on, the more likely it is that they will leave today the FNCS champions.
He's got a few foraged fruits in his inventory. An apple a day might keep Tayson and Uguay away. That's what he's hoping for at the moment. He's chomped on all 3.
Yeah, and they are looking very, very healthy, as stated before. And that is totally bad news for Tayson and Uguay. They ideally needed them to already have been down.
Yep.
They, you know, in the ideal world, for them to win FNCS, they needed Aqua and Vino to go down off spawn or in the mid game. So now the pressure is not only on them to try win the game, but to do so in scintillating fashion. They need to do so many eliminations. They need to just go for a Malabuka Mustache type endgame right now.
What they need is 10 elims more specifically than Aqua and Vino, and then stay ahead of them as well in the placement. So far, Aqua and Vino have just hit second or third place if they're not winning games inside the end games on day 2. Tayson, Uguay already affected, looking to see what to do next. This is not a situation we've seen them in before. They never really leave this super late. They're not really playing for information either, as Tayson has to shield up. This should be trouble for the duo. Can they identify the pad? Yes, they can. This time, it's fine, and they're in the skies.
They won't be timed out, and they'll be able to pick a position in the zone. But like we established, it's not just about staying up for them. If they really want to leave today as FNCS champions, they have to start doing damage. They have to start getting eliminations.
The elims have to start now. Look at the point differential, 322 on the top right, 352 on the bottom right. It's basically 30 points in total.
Such a mountain to climb, such a barrier to have to break through. Aqua and Vino, though, not playing for height as we've seen them do so well in previous games. It's actually Flois and Mappy that hold that ground. And so eventually these guys may even collide on the mid and low layers. The armored wall comes through to delay, gives them that space to move forward in the zone. Vino, the responsibility of the Tarpa right now, but a Tarpa with no mats is truly nothing. They need to fight.
Vino has to hit the shots when they matter most. It's Ju who's going to be the first person at the jaw of this dynamic duo, but Aqua's down. Vino has no mats. Aqua basically had the rest of them all. There's nothing for him to do but just pray and spray, but he can't find a single shot, and low ground is elevating up. Vino is forced towards the sky. 120 driving by. Kefi's down, and he's got a few more mats to work with, but the battle's not over yet for the first place team. They're still moving and taken down with about 359 points, but Tayson's gone too. The upper echelon falls. That's it for the top of EU.
We saw Vino against Tayson last year to try and win an FNCS. This time it seems like he might have got the best of them. But down below in the standings, Thomas and Trippin have finally taken 4th place, and they're trying to take names on the way as well. They want the victory out to close it out. They're sitting in 3rd now. Malabuka and Mustache pushed down. But can they get the victory royale? From up above, Mappy, Flois, they want to close things out on a high. They want to move up and get some more dosh. But Vico wants to put an end to the Danes run, take Trippin out. And now Thomas in a solo clutch situation. What can he do?
Up near the bugle. Volcanic rock on all sides, but he gets cooled down. Mappy up top on high ground. Every elimination, thousands of dollars of cash just flowing in different banks. Mappy and Flois up top do not want to give it up, but it is chopped out. Jackson's there to be able to hit that crucial build, and more damage flies from the other side. Has a pad, but it can't really be used for now. No mats on the bottom side. Jackson looking for the next shot, and the spray's there. Mappy just chomps on his head. Everything falls from the skies. Flois and Mappy win that final game.
Flois and Mappy, when it mattered in the final game, to push their way up in the standings, to fight for more earnings, they have done it. A victory royale. They played height like experienced veterans, not giving anybody a chance to take it, and fighting down below valiantly to close out the FNCS in Game 12. What a win.
You might not be close to the title of champion, but to etch your story even higher on the ranks, even higher on that ladder, that's exactly what Flois and Mappy just did.
A really nice way to close things out for that duo. I'm sure they'll take that confidence and push even further in future FNCSs. They've been on such an amazing rise, but all anybody will be thinking about Shia Wager, Vino and Aqua.
Absolutely. I mean, in studio, it felt like these games were in real life for us. We were in these builds, in the bugle with the players, Levin. It was absolutely awesome to ride them out with you. We got to toss it back over to the desk, see exactly what they have in terms of who won this FNCS.
Thank you guys so much. Absolutely fantastic 6th set of games from us here today in EU. Shio, Wager, 11-2K absolutely held it down. My goodness.
They're hugging. You can't
They're hugging. You can't see it. Don't worry about it. They're hugging over there. We'll be with them in just a little bit, but we have to talk about how things transpired in this last game. Craziness there as the top 3 teams going into this game are all sitting. They're all moving box to box, layer to layer, and at any moment, one of them makes a mistake. That's it, man. They're locked in time. How did this all unfold?
Yeah, the first one we were looking at was Tayson, of course. It was going up against. We pretty much needed a 10 elimination victory while, but here we are instead, the winners. No surprise, Vino and Aqua. This is now Aqua's second FNCS championship. He won back in Season X. He's the World Cup champion as well. And of course, Vino, you can't say enough about this guy. The first FNCS championship for him.
So well deserved is the phrase that I'm going to use to describe their performance over this weekend. They have been the dominant team. They've been up on high ground. They've been spraying down the rest of the lobby. They didn't have a chance when they were in the game and they were healthy. And Aqua and Vino have done it. Victory royales as well. They haven't just, you know, sort of consistently placed their way through. They've gone for big games. They've made it entertaining. And oh boy, have we been entertained.
There is no doubt in my mind that this team is the best Hike team this season. I don't think there was a single game that we saw where they took Hike and they lost it at all. They maintained it every single time. No team even seemed like a challenge for them when it came to contesting high ground. Such a well-deserved win.
Oh my goodness. I just, once again, in case you didn't know, Aqua coming out of the Duo World Cup Championship, right? Standing alongside Bugha, now saying, okay, I now also have a win. Now, could I be in that GOAT conversation? After this, you have to assume the answer is yes. But after 12 games, my goodness, kind of like what you're saying, it's just every little advantage they could find. These little micro advantages that really, like, give us the marks of a powerful duo. They have.
Yeah, they really do. And they already showed that in the last game. They showed a lot of maturity. They showed a lot of class. Being able to play the low ground layers. We talk about their high ground ability, their high ground potential. They were very, very mature in the way they played this. They understood that if they made a risky play for high ground, they would have missed out on so many of those placement points on the lower layers they would have been able to got. They did fall a little bit earlier than they would have liked, of course, but it was one of those situations where they'd done enough, and they did it so well.
Yeah, I think that's like a champion mentality to understand that this is what you need to do to win the tournament. You don't need to win the game. You don't need to make a crazy high ground play. You just need to do enough to make it in there. And I talked at the top of the show that I was wondering, how is Vino going to play on day 2? We know, of course, Aqua has the mentality of a champion sometimes when he argues with people, maybe not at that same time. But we know that he's so good. I was wondering, how is Vino going to play this? I'm so happy to see the maturity from him. Boom. Boom.
I'm taking all of them. I want all of them.
Blocking him. He's blocking him.
Oh, wow. My goodness. We have to take a look at kind of the final leaderboards, see how things have kind of resolved, because we know Aqua and Vino come out as FNCS champions. They will take hold of the Axe of Champions 2.0. But where did the results end for everybody else? Tayson and Uguay there. Listen, they maybe didn't make it in first, but still walking with $200,000 in second place. That's one of his books.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the fight they had to get to that spot as well, very well deserved. In all portions of the game, it wasn't easy, Reese, for them to get to this spot.
No, nothing at all, right? We saw repeated struggles of them through week to week to week, game to game to game. But yet, every match, you just saw top 10, top 10, top 10. Every single game, they were always in the conversation. And now, second place is the result of that incredible consistency.
Yeah, they only had one bad game today, and that just shows the caliber of the lobbies that we're talking about right now. You cannot make mistakes. We saw them trying to go for the reuse of the launch pad. It didn't work out for them, but all it takes is one bad game for one of our top teams, and someone else will snatch it away from them.
I think one of the beautiful things about seeing that leaderboard and seeing the standings there is that it is like a very accurate reflection of the 5 best teams that we've seen this season.
Yep.
Right? When you look at the teams who have performed on multiple stages throughout the season, that 5 there, I don't think you could pick a better 5.
No, not at all. One of the things I'm really impressed with still is Mustache and Malabuka. I think on day 1, we can all agree that they were impressive. Yep. Day 2, not so much. They've made some great games, but I think we will all remember that they are one of the best teams for a long time to come.
And I mean, I think as well, when you look at someone like Hen and Queasy, excuse me, mixing their names in my mind, jumping up from 41st all the way up to 8th, man.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane. Remember, they were your champions from last season, but now they're coming in. They're going to relinquish the axe, but still they came in 8th.
I was going to say, that is probably one of the best comebacks in history.
Easily.
Yeah, it is.
Easily.
Like, you think about it, right? Imagine if they had just like a slightly better day 1. Like, if they had, you know, a day 1 that was reflective of sort of how they perform now, look, we would have been maybe talking about, you know, 2-time FNCS, the back-to-back FNCS championships. But of course, we're getting into Dreamland now. Still, great comeback from them. Congratulations.
My goodness, what an absolutely incredible way to wrap up the Chapter 3 Season 2 FNCS. We have to now add another set of names to the champions across all of the regions. Once again, Aqua and Vino, congratulations to you. You will hold on to the Axe of Champions 2.0, the first set of hands to take hold of this axe. That is absolutely insane. But now we have to kind of shift gears a little bit, friends. We've been talking about our predictions all season long.
Can we skip that? Can we skip it?
I'm down for that vote, right? 4 out of 5?
Right now.
4 out of 5? Hands?
Okay, so let's, you know what? So far, remember, the way this works is we make predictions, and based on their final placement, we kind of get points. The points kind of get tallied up, and at the end of the season, we say, okay, who is the best, most predictingest analyst, caster, person, right? This time, we have decided that we have created a type of trophy, a little gift for whoever is the most winningest person.
They did that the season after I win it. Classic.
Shouldn't there be something for the first season's prediction winner? You know what I'm saying? The very first time we have prediction. It's all.
We have a sympathy trophy for the first. We have like
for those.
Exactly. We have like a little wooden plank or something. You know?
I'll draw
The first one's like free. The first one's like, hey, get your feet wet. Then the second time, you got to be more serious. Let's take a look at the points and see who has come out in EU specifically as the #1 person. Risa.
Okay. 170.
I don't know how I did better than 11-2K. That is going to be in my history books as my best result. So, Reese, you have won. Congratulations. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get the prize.
All I'm going to say is thank you guys, because without your bad predictions, I would never have won.
Look,
You're too smart.
I'm going to be humble in defeat this time. Right? I'm going to be humble in defeat. Look, usually I am on top of it. This season I took some risks. I was in Denmark for the FNCS, so there were a couple times I predicted some Danes to let me down. So I've learned my lesson. Next season, I'm not going to be too kind to Denmark. But look, Reese, props to you. You've done a good job. We go back, right? So I'm happy for you. I got love for you.
Thank you. It means a lot. My biggest supporter outside my mom.
Okay, so Minnie, if you'll just swap places with Reese for a moment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Back it up.
Yeah, congratulations, Reese. Camera guys, if you want to just get real close here, I'd like to congratulate you as the Chapter 3 Season 2 Best Predictor. Congratulations, my friend. That's right. We will be sending this to you as your trophy. Congratulations,
Please give me that.
Wow.
Oh, this is going in the front door.
I'm actually jealous I didn't win now.
Yeah.
Man, no matter what, actually, Seek wins.
that.
I just realized.
Yeah.
Look at the post. It's the same post.
That is so
Wow.
good. You can be my duo any day. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Only you can predict me.
Wow.
There you go. Amazing.
There you go. Congratulations, Reese. Thank you so much. Guys, that is it for the FNCS in EU. Did you like what you saw? Well, make sure you come back. NA East, NA West also have shows where they'll also have champions and more prizes like this. We love you all so very dearly. Legends Landing, thanks as always for having us. And don't forget to tune in next season for more action of the FNCS. As always, we love you guys, and we'll see you on that battle bus.
Yeah.